Welcome back to Comics with Drew, and today is another Tankōbon Tuesday. Boom! Today I'm reviewing Love is War by Akasaka Aka, story and art by. So we have a twofer. We have the writer and artist is the same individual, and this book was actually recommended by a viewer of this channel, to which I would like to say thank you very much. And I went to Barnes & Noble. And actually, I typically like to go to Barnes & Noble to buy tankōbons because of the fact that there's such a wide selection of them. And you can always find people who are milling about who seem to be really into it. And you can just ask them what they like to read, and what's popular. And it's just a really cool thing. I went to Barnes & Noble specifically because I was going to get JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 1, Volume 1, or Volume 1, Part 1. I still don't really understand the naming convention there. But because they did not have the book there, I decided to look for an alternative option, and Love is War was one of the ones that was available. So I picked it up, and this is a hilarious book. So this actually has been around for a while now. I think they're into the 20s now. I think they're maybe up to volume 22, and this is volume 1. But this introduces Kaguya and Miyuki. Now, if you are not familiar with the anime or the manga for this, what the story is about, it's about two people who are like total A-types, okay? So they are the alphas. They are the best of the best. They go to this private school, and it's the best private school. And they're the academy president and the academy vice president. So there's like 1, 2. Now, they like each other. They really like each other. The problem is they have decided, or they have come across this opinion, which is the whole point of the book, that if you're the first person to say that you're the one that's attracted, then you are the loser, and you are losing the power dynamic in that relationship. Now, I will let all you fine viewers know that that's not how you should approach relationships, where it's a power struggle, where one person's in charge and the other one's not. You want to make it a partnership. But for our entertainment purposes, that's not the case here. So these two, they do not like to lose. And the whole idea is that every chapter is really about one of them deciding that they've got this plan that they're trying to hatch to trap the other one into confessing their love for them. And it sometimes goes well, sometimes it doesn't, but they never actually manage to get the person to confess, but they come away with some sort of satisfaction. The writing is just spectacular. So the first page of the book starts off with basically the premise of it, and it says, everyone believes that falling for someone, confessing your love, and becoming a couple is the most wonderful thing in the world, but they're wrong. In every couple, there is an imbalance of power, the exploiter and the exploited, and the giver and the taker, and the winner and the loser. And if you want to maintain your dominance, you must not become the loser. Love is war. And, one of the wonderful things about this book is you have a narrator, right? And the narrator is actually commentating. It's like he's doing color commentary at a sporting event. Better yet, like an actual professional fighting event. What they'll do is they'll have Miyuki or Kaguya will be talking, and then they'll chime in with like a square panel, which will be some kind of sarcastic comment by the narrator, confirming what they're saying or getting their digs in. It's like Akasaka is just commenting on something that's happening, and he's actually not writing it. If you want to read a great book, you want to read a book where the writer treats the characters like they're their own autonomous being. So there will be examples where between these chapters, they'll have like a character and they'll say like, here's Miyuki, right? And then they'll put like different traits down for the character, and they'll say things like, aside from his psychological issues, he's a good person, right? I mean, things like that. Or Akasaka, he's totally slamming his own characters. Or like when he's talking about Kaguya here, and he says, she doesn't understand love, it's going to take a while. So, I mean, here's a book basically about teen romance, and clearly neither of these characters understand love. There's no doubt about that. For a book that does not have any action, it's just the characters talking to each other, you have to have killer dialogue. And Love is War is a beautiful, brilliant example of that. The book actually doesn't have chapters because, this is a war. we have battle campaigns instead of chapters. So some of the best ones are I Will Make You Play Old Maid. Another great one is Chika Fujiwara Wants to Go Somewhere. And probably my favorite one is actually Kaguya Wants to Walk. And the reason why that one's my favorite is because it doesn't end like the other ones do. Basically, something happens that is unexpected and Kaguya takes advantage of it so she can put herself in a position to intercept Miyuki while he's riding his bike to school. And that results in this wonderful image here where she's just sitting here on the back of his bicycle and they're just together. You know, they're not saying anything. They're not arguing with each other. He's just trying to make it to school and she's there. The way that this evokes like her emotion of just being happy with the flowing skirt, the flowing ribbons, her hair, and this wistful look in her eyes. And then she gets this little slight smile here. This drawing is just happy. And the wonder of it all is that they're too busy with their pride to admit that they actually really want to be with each other. And this actually happens towards the end of volume 1. It's just a great image that really illustrates the whole tone and feel of the book. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you're really happy to be with somebody, but this is the kind of look, this is the kind of feeling that you might have. This is how I would describe it myself. You're just so happy, everything is perfect. And that's what this illustration does. The art in the book is phenomenal. There are so many examples of panels where the characters freak out, and they're usually accompanied with some kind of super intense close-up with lots of black and lots of ink. Like in this example where Miyuki is like, I won't let it happen. No, there's nowhere for me to escape, right? Now, by the way, there's a lot of I won't let it happen going on in this book. There's this panel here with Miyuki. Then there's this panel with Kaguya where she goes, I can't let that happen. I won't be forced into making a decision. And they're all trying to outthink each other. They're all trying to be too cute by half. And that's part of the reason why the book is so great. I don't know if you've ever seen movies that are called like screwball comedies. What a screwball comedy is, it's basically a movie where there's a misunderstanding and the characters could solve the misunderstanding by simply just talking to each other for 5 seconds just to make sure that everybody gets out what they need to say. But you don't have that, and because of that, they go off on these crazy, bizarre, wild, chaotic adventures, and it's all based upon a misunderstanding. And this book actually is like a screwball comedy. It's like a screwball comedy movie. And it's hilarious. One of the things that I really like about this book is that when something unexpected happens, the narrator explodes. So it's not just the characters that freak out, the narrator freaks out. Like, here's an example of what I'm talking about. So we have their friend, and she's got movie tickets here, and she's trying to give the movie tickets to them, but they're actually waging this gigantic strategic mental war with each other. And so even though the tickets are to a romantic movie, Chika says, oh, wait a second, there's also this other movie that's not a romantic movie. And then they flip out, and then the narrator flips out. He says, chaos theory. And so it goes into, a bunch of formulas and even takes it all the way back to the Big Bang. It's that kind of fun. So you're not just reading the interactions with the characters, you're reading the narrator. It's almost like reading like Deadpool, where Deadpool's talking to himself and it's breaking the fourth wall. It's a fantastic storytelling device. Most of the time you get a narrator will say, in X place, in X year, blah, blah, blah. But the narrator here, like I said, he's a play-by-play color commentary announcer type person. It makes the book so much easier to read, honestly, to tell you the truth. The art is so evocative, it's so emotional. Look at this art here on the first page of the chapter, Kaguya Wants to Be Figured Out. You've got this panel where it's looking down at her, and you've got darkness outside, and you got this nice, comforting, cozy, well-lit interior, but it's laid out on the starry sky. I mean, this art is so beautiful. You don't normally see this kind of detail and thought given into just like the emotion of a setting. And Akasaka just kills it. I mean, dude he just rocks this. I mean, the art is so mature. It gives you exactly what you need to see, when you need to see it. And I mean, even the spacing of the balloons here for the dialogue, they're just out so far. It just shows you that Kaguya is really alone, and all she really wants to do is get Miyuki to figure her out in this particular chapter. And he gets so close to doing it, but then it doesn't quite work. And by the way, the different plans that they have with each other, that they hatch with each other, are brilliant. There's one where Kaguya comes into the room and Miyuki is asleep, and she figures out all these different things that she can do to try to get him to confess that he actually loves her. And it doesn't work out quite the way she wants. And then there's a killer twist at the end of it. And it's just like, oh my God, you don't see it coming. It hits you right at the right time. This is a brilliant book. So I cannot recommend it enough. Love is War. It's a Tankōbon Volume 1. I think they're up to Volume 22, if I'm not mistaken. And I know it's an anime, so if you would just want to watch the anime instead of reading the Tankōbon, you can certainly do that. I personally would recommend reading this because you really don't want to miss it. It's actually probably my favorite Tankōbon so far of all the ones I've read because it's so unexpected and it's hilariously written. It's one of the smartest writing jobs I have ever seen, and it is so difficult to achieve it. I can't even begin to tell you guys. So if you've got $10 and you want to buy this, it's actually $7 if you want the digital version on Viz Media. But whichever way you buy it, buy it. If you just want a good book that's hilarious and you really enjoy people matching wits with each other in ludicrous circumstances, this is the book for you. So again, Love is War by Akasaka Aka, 5 stars. Thanks for watching Comics with Drew on Tankōbon Tuesday, and I'll see you next time.